Hey, my name is James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. House prices are expected to rise over the next few months, and this is coming from a very, very credible source. I'm going to talk to you about why house prices are expected to rise. Is it a long-term thing, or is it just going to be a short blip temporarily because the market has been fairly subdued for the last 2 years? In fact, property transactions at the moment are down 25%, meaning a hell of a lot of people, businesses that rely on property transactions will start to struggle. Talk about estate agents, solicitors, builders, because all of these industries rely on a busy moving property market. However, it is tough. House prices have been really relatively flat over the last few years. We've had a little bit up, a little bit down. We didn't get that house price crash that lots of people were expecting. So let's talk about who is expecting house prices to rise and why we should probably listen to this source. So before we jump into this, as always, if you haven't done already, smash subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. I've got new content every single day on this channel. 200,000 people watch this channel every single month, so thank you to everyone that does. And do me a little favor, get the message out on this video, smash the like button, tickle the like button, do something for the YouTube algorithm gods. By doing that, it pushes it out to more people. So who is talking in this video? Well, it's RICS, and so RICS are sorry, butcher this, the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. And so these are the guys, when you get a mortgage, or probably even if you don't get a mortgage and you buy a property, you want to get a valuation, right? And so estate agents give a valuation, but that isn't the real valuation. Ultimately, it's the RICS surveyor, the valuer that comes round, that ultimately their decision is the most important one. You see, you might go to an estate agent and say, you know what, I'll buy that flat for 100 grand. The seller's happy with 100 grand, but the RICS valuer comes round and says, it's only worth 90. I've had that happen in the past, and that means that you're going to be able to borrow less money on a mortgage, and you might have to renegotiate with the seller because RICS really are the ones that actually decide prices on all of properties. Now, RICS surveyors in the last year or so have been really tough. They've been downvaluing properties because they don't want to get in trouble. What they really don't want to happen is to get you a mortgage for 100 grand and then a year later the property is only worth 70 grand, because they're looked at and judged at their valuations, and if they get lots of mortgage companies into negative equity, then they're going to have a big problem. So they might not get any more business going forward. So RICS are saying, with the general election behind us, that is one stumbling block that has moved out the way. We talked about that. A lot of you didn't think the general election had much in holding people back, but people wanted to see that Labour were definitely going to get in and what their policies are. I've just done a video on that, on their 7 property policies, so do check that out on the channel as well. So they're saying general election is behind us. Sales have been down. They're down 25%. That's a lot. Now, new inquiries since the general election are up, meaning the market is going to get busier. They're also up, one, because of the general election, but more realistic is that mortgage rates have dropped. So mortgage rates have gone down significantly in the last 2 weeks to 4 weeks, right? Significantly. I've made tons of videos, huge lenders. You can get rates now for buy-to-let mortgages at 3.5%, 3.5% or 3.99% with no big fees, like $1.5 grand fees rather than a percentage fee. There are some good deals. Go and check out last week's videos. There's so much good stuff in there, so do check those out. So mortgage rates down means affordability goes up, means that someone that's sat on the fence that wants to buy is now walking into that estate agent and saying, I now want to view properties. So viewings and stuff like that are up because of the mortgage rates going up. Next is the economy is pretty resilient. Is pretty resilient at the moment. And so we did have a recession, but it was a little blip. We came back out. We could go back in. No one knows for sure. But it has been fairly robust. Employment has been fairly robust. It's getting slightly worse, but it has been strong. And the fact is, the economy is expected to do fairly well in the next year. That means that people will have more confidence to start looking for property. So that's another thing that RICS are saying. Next is that the interest rates are expected to be cut at the Bank of England. So mortgage rates have gone down. The reason the mortgage rates went down was because the market was quiet, 25% quieter, as I said. And so that meant that banks wanted to stimulate the market. They did this in December last year. It worked. January, February, March were busy. It's gone quiet again. So mortgage rates have gone down, but the Bank of England is expected to cut its base rate fairly soon. That could lead to even more mortgage rate drops. And so when that happens, the market is expected to get busier again. There are lots of people that can afford to buy, that are ready to buy, that are just sitting on the sidelines waiting for rate cuts. As soon as that happens, I've said this a lot of times, RICS is agreeing with what I'm saying here, that the market is expected to pick up. For how long? No one knows. It might not be long term. It might not be for a year, but it will be for a few months. You will get a busy period of people getting back into the market, buying property, doing viewings. That is definitely going to happen. And so that is really, really important. So all of this stuff together is good because RICS are now less likely to downvalue your property, and that keeps the prices more stable. That's the worst scenario that you can get, is where RICS, the surveyors, the valuers, they have been tough in this market. They have been. I had a property that was definitely worth more than 200 grand. The house price index, which you can't go by for sure, said it was worth 250. I felt 200. The surveyor felt that it was only worth 165. I wasn't selling, I was releasing equity from that property to buy another. Fortunately, I had a huge amount of equity in there, so it didn't bother me too much. But if I was on a tight margin on that and I needed all of the money out, it really, really could have impacted me, and other people will be experiencing that. So you want RICS to be positive about the market. You want the surveyors, the valuers, to be positive about the market, so you get a good valuation. If you're taking out equity or renewing your mortgage, you want them to feel that the market is fairly robust and stable. Very, very important. So if RICS are saying the market is likely to go up, they make the market. They are the market makers. They're the ones that value the properties. So they can move a market unlike anybody else. So I think that is very, very powerful stuff. And it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next few months. A week or so, we'll have some more Halifax and nationwide data. So let's see if it's started already. It probably won't come until the September data, but who knows? Be interesting to see. Do let me know your thoughts, opinions, and comments below. Do smash like if you didn't do already. Subscribe and hit the bell. Check out all the other content on my channel, including this video right here.